Hi. Have you ever thought, what if my website turns away people who think that they're the wrong size business, but might be my ideal client? Recently, one of our clients had met with a new personal tax client, someone who had low cost recurring fees that was potentially a good client for them. And this potential prospect said that the accountant's website looked like it was too big to take on tax return work only. Now, in this case, the prospect actually got in touch and met with the accountant. So it looks like the website did do its job. But this caused the accountant to think, what about everybody else who didn't get in touch with me? Now, if this sounds familiar, I'd encourage you to ask the following questions. Firstly, what type of work do you actually want to do? Think about your existing client base and think about what work you enjoy doing. If you don't want to do things like tax return work or bookkeeping, it's important that you show that on your website, either by mentioning it or by focusing all of your content and key messaging on the things that you do want to do. Secondly, while it's important to love the work that you do, it's also more important probably to be more profitable. And so it's important to think about what work is profitable for you at the moment. Then also think about your team. What skills does your team actually have? If you want to focus on management accounts and you've got a team of really amazing bookkeepers, potentially management accounts might not be the area to focus on. What is your existing team great at, though? If you have got a team that are great at doing bookkeeping, there's no point offering services like management accounts that they aren't confident in. If this is the case and you want to change your service offering, you're going to have to either upskill your team or hire people who can offer the services that you want. What stage of the journey is the prospect in? It's important to not only look at the size of the prospect's business, but also at the stage of the journey that the prospect is in. Are they looking to grow? And if so, how quickly? And what other services might they need as they grow and change? If they build a solid relationship with you, they are unlikely to look elsewhere for those services, but it's important that you always encourage and explain to them what the services are in a helpful way. The third question to ask yourself is, how can you sow the seed for future services that they might need as they grow? In this area, I would think about a few things. Firstly, communicate regularly with them. It's never too early to look at what their future might look like. I would talk to them about their concerns and their feelings that they might experience as they grow. The conversation could sound something like this. When you start hiring, you might feel overwhelmed at the prospect of looking after other people. This is why we need to create a business plan so that we can look at your first potential hires over the next 6 to 12 months so we can plan accordingly. By doing this, you imagine their expectations so that when these services do come up and they are mentioned, they're not surprised by what's included and what the cost is. Secondly, I would show them a visual representation of what their growth could look like over the next 12 to 24 months. People respond much better to images than they do to words, so it's really important to show them what this could look like in a visual representation. Thirdly, build strong relationships. One of the best things you can do for your firm is to build strong relationships. Getting a prospect to buy from you isn't just about selling, it's about showing how you can help them best and how you can actually help find solutions to the things they're struggling with. Remember to give away information and charge for implementation. And lastly, educate your prospects and clients. Talk to them about the way that you work, the important things to think about when it comes to their numbers and their systems. And you don't need to wait until a prospect becomes a client to educate them. You can educate prospects as well. A lot of the things that the issues that we see could have been solved by a prospect reading a blog or watching a video before the issue actually occurred. The fourth question to ask yourself is, are you trying to be all things to all people and finding it hard to say no? We know how much you care about your clients and the work that you do. This is what makes you great. It also could be your downfall. You're trying to please everybody and you're struggling to say no. Does this sound familiar? If you're trying to be all things to all people, you end up causing confusion to your team, to your clients, and to your prospects. When you started out, you probably took on all your clients without thinking about the ideal client, and we all did this. But here's something you may have forgotten. You can choose who you work with. You're allowed to choose, and in fact, you must choose. It's your business, and the more clearly you define who you want to work with and who you work with best, the better the business will be. And lastly, the last question to think about is, did your website do what it was intended to do? Let's say you're aiming at attracting larger retainers with higher cost fees. Now, if your website gives the impression you are a decent sized firm and your prospects recognize you aren't the kind of firm who focuses on tax return work only, then your website's doing its job. You could even say on your website, accounting solutions for small businesses, and you'll still get people who will get in touch with you who are from a larger firm, who get in touch because they like what they see, they like your brand, your style, and the way that you do things. And that's okay. In our example, the prospect presumably liked what he saw on the website in terms of who they were, their values, and the way that they work. Perhaps he wasn't quite sure yet, and so he got in touch anyway. Exactly what you want the right kind of prospect to do. It's okay if your website doesn't answer every question a prospect has. Even if it does, they might not actually read every single part of your website. Remember that people skim websites, so it's also okay to have the same thing on different pages of your site. The right type of client will get in touch because they want to work with you, because despite the fact that you are too big or too small, or perhaps you work with a different niche. Even though our PF site clearly states that we work with accountants only, we still get people getting in touch with us all the time, asking us to work with them because they like who we are and our culture and our values and the way that we work. Now, if you know that your website could be more focused on your ideal audience, or you want to define that more clearly, I would definitely encourage you to join the next Accelerator coaching group. Now, in this group, you'll take a 12-week deep dive into how all the elements of marketing work together and how they will come back to knowing with clarity who your ideal audience is and what their issues are. You'll then see how to use your marketing to show that audience how you can help them best. Thanks. Bye.